Welcome back, Shalloners. Today is a sad day. Today, Vanessa Hudgens and Austin Butler, Splitsville. We're going to break down what happened because I got some inside information. Plus, we're going to talk about how to move on from a long-term relationship and why it might not be a good idea to date someone in the same professional field as you. But before we get into it, before I spill all the tea and do all the analysis, just want to remind you that if you have a love question of your own and need some one-on-one help, go to my website, shallonlester.com, and click Get Help. You can also shop some fun merch like this feminine feminist hoodie. It's really comfy. That's why I wear them in all my videos, because I'm just like lazy and comfy. Also follow me on Instagram at ShallonXO, where you get some daily inspiration and vote on the next video topic. Oh, and I meant to tell you guys, like, I've shot a few videos today, and I was like, God, I look great. Like, my makeup looks so good. And I was using, so I want to show you what I'm using. This isn't an ad. I just like it because a lot of times you guys will be like, what's your makeup routine? Like, your skin looks good. And I'm usually like, really? Because I think it doesn't. You know the problems I've had with like splotchiness and everything. And usually it's like MAC, Smashbox, all these things. This is a mineral makeup. My friend Brooklyn gave it to me. Brooklyn is a fellow YouTuber and I love her. We met through the course of the Philanthropy fundraising for Miss Sherry, the homeless mom in Atlanta. And I was down in Atlanta last week and I got to meet Brooklyn face to face. Like, she's been so helpful. She helped Sherry. She brought them Christmas dinner, bought a bunch of toys. I also got to meet some other girls, Julie and Miss Diane. But Brooklyn, she's an esthetician. So she like gave me this gnarly, amazing facial and she put this makeup on. It's, what is this brand? Unique. Like YOUNIQUE, but it's a mineral makeup. Like, usually you can't wear mineral stuff on camera. Like, it doesn't look good in photos because the silica reflects in a bad way. And like, my skin is getting clogged from filming every day and wearing like camera makeup. So I don't know. I like this. Don't you think it looks good? I like it. So if you want to buy it, she also sells it. I'll put the link. So go to her. Go to the links down in the description if you want to buy the makeup. I also really like their day and their night cream. Like, I went home and bought that. It's great. And Brooklyn and I also collabed on a video. You can check it out. But basically, she's got 4 bibis, 4 kids, and I have 0. And you guys know my ambivalence about having children. So she and I talked through a lot of the pros and cons of having children. Did I change my mind? Did I not? Am I pregnant right now? No, I'm not pregnant. It'd be like an immaculate conception. Anyway, we got the makeup, we talked babies, we talked pregnancy, we've covered a lot of ground. Now let's talk about Austin and Vanessa, because who saw this coming? They've been together for 9 years. Like, I knew it was a long time, but I'm like, 9 years, damn. He's 28, so they started dating when he was like 19. Like, he was a youngin'. She's 31, she was also young. And they just were kind of one of those low-key Hollywood couples that you're like, oh yeah, those two. And I could see at the time kind of like why she started dating him after the Zac Efron thing. Zac has a lot of problems. A lot of problems. We won't get into those because I don't want to get sued, but they're not good ones. And Austin just seemed very like normal, very chill. But we always got to remember, how chill can someone be if they're an actor? Do you know what I mean? How normal can anyone be if they're a celebrity? But we're just always going to pretend on this channel that all things are equal and they're as normal as we are. So this breakup kind of came out of nowhere, but did it? There's a few aspects I want to focus on. The first one is how long-term relationships change, and the second one is professional sort of jealousy. Let's talk about that one first, because that's where the tea comes in. So Vanessa's career has been not going where she thought it was going to go, especially compared to Zac Efron's career. And why is it important to compare them? Because they had their big break at the same time with High School Musical. And she is very, very talented. She can sing, she can dance, she can act. He can too, but like, she's just like, I mean, come on, she's so cute and she's so good at a lot of things. And Zac's career has taken off. I mean, he did Baywatch, all the big things. Like, we all still like desperately want to sleep with Zac Efron. Oh my God. But Vanessa's is kind of flatline. I mean, she did what, that Christmas movie, The Princess Switch? What has she really been doing like before then? And Austin's has also kind of been like, what does he do? I know he's had like parts here and there. He's in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but like, he also is not like this big star, this big household name. And I think this contributed to the end of their relationship, because she hasn't posted him on Instagram since Halloween. That's a minute. And he hasn't posted her since July. What happened in July? Well, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood came out, and that's when he posted her. But also, it was announced that he was going to star in Elvis, in Baz Luhrmann's biopic of Elvis that's coming up. It's going to be a huge movie. It's going to get a ton of buzz. It truly could rocket Austin to the A-list. Kind of the way Rami Malek is now A-list because of the Queen biopic. And you know who else is a big deal? His co-star and girlfriend, Lucy Boynton. What do these two have to do with Austin and Vanessa? Well, sometimes they're secondary gains. And I've heard through my little web of sources that Vanessa was pushing really hard for him to get this part. I mean, it's not like she had the control over it. But when he got that part, she saw this as her secondary big break as well. There were going to be photo ops. There were going to be interviews. She was going to land magazine covers as a result of this. The same way Lucy Boynton has. And look, I'm not trying to infantilize Lucy Boynton's career, although she's pretty manipulative. She's very weird. Nor am I trying to infantilize Vanessa's. Neither one of these women need these men to elevate them. But, I mean, maybe they do. If we're going by the last few years of Vanessa's career, which haven't been going great, kinda, maybe, they do need someone to pull them from the B list up to the A. And I wonder if Austin heard that loud and clear. I don't think it's a coincidence that the last time he posted her was when that news broke. I wonder if maybe she was a little too excited about this, a little too gang for him to get this part, a little too focused on planning how this was going to change both of their lives. I wonder if he's like, does she love me? Is she sticking with me? Or is she sticking with my trajectory? And there is a big difference. This brings me to my secondary point, dating people who you work with. Well, I guess that is my primary point. The secondary point is the long-term relationship. Okay. Dating people you work with, I have always said, is a recipe for disaster. The relationship, the TV relationship that has always made me cringe the hardest is Pam and Jim from The Office. Dating a coworker is my fucking nightmare. If I'm at work all day, the last thing I want to come do is see my bitch ass coworker who I also have to sleep with, and we're talking about work, but we're not at work, but we might as well be at work because it's all we talk about, because it's all we have in common. Absolutely not. And so on one hand, I think it's so unhealthy for actors to date each other, but then their universe is so strange. I get why it works. I get why they're drawn to each other. Who else could understand their lifestyle? Who else could understand their goals? Instagram trolls, stuff like that, except for another actor. But I think dating someone who is in your same profession is so toxic. Women are not, maybe this isn't true, but I don't feel like women compete against their partners the way guys compete against us. Guys take it very, very personally if we do the same job and I do better. Me, I want to see my partner do well. I want them to do better. And maybe there's a touch of Hudgens in me where I'm if he does better, then maybe I'll do better. Maybe he can introduce me to better people. So an element of that in a relationship, if you are in the same field, is to be expected, and I think is fine. And it kind of comes with the territory. But I wonder if maybe Vanessa suddenly took it a little too far. Suddenly, maybe Austin got a little peek behind the curtain and was like, ugh, why is she with me? Is she going to swoop in there and snake this opportunity? Hopefully not. But I think something else is going on with these two. And I know that it's something that goes on with you guys a lot because you tell me. Long-term relationships. It is a psychological fact that every 7 years, we as humans go through kind of a metamorphosis. I mean, on a cellular level, they say your cells turn over every 7 years. So you, in fact, are a brand new person. All your skin's turned over like a snake. Psychologically, this happens as well. At age 14, we leave behind childhood, right? Who we were when we were 7. At 21, we leave behind those young teenage years. We start to develop into an autonomous young adult. At 28, we sort of think about okay, the wildness of our 20s might be over, the testing different aspects of our personality. Now we're forecasting into our 30s. Where do we want to go? Who do we want to be? Are we putting down roots? Are we moving away from an initial profession? They're like, I don't really want to be a lawyer. I'm going to try something different. Are we ready to leave our small town? Maybe we're just graduating from medical school and now we're ready to move into a new space. And how old is Austin? 28. They have been together for so long, and he was so young when they got together. And it's not like she was old. They were both so young and so unformed as individuals. I wonder if he now at 28 is like, you know what? That dynamic, that role that I've been in for the last 9 years, it's changing. I have fundamentally changed. I'm not doing this. And it's interesting this is happening at 28, not like 21. I mean, it'd be weird if they'd been together 9 years and they were 21, but I guess it happens. Because maybe he's doing what a lot of men his age do, forecasting into the future, thinking about a more serious relationship and settling down, basically. And maybe he's not looking at girlfriends. Maybe he's looking at wives. Maybe he's not looking at having fun. Maybe he's looking at having kids. Maybe not. But we're going to say that he is, because a lot of dudes at that age are doing that. And it's unconscious. This is what we have to realize. This shift happens unconsciously, especially at that age. When you're 14, it's much more purposeful. I'm not a kid anymore. I'm a teenager. You know, like stuff like that. Same at 21. It's like, I'm a man now. Like, bro, you're not. Okay. But at 28, you think like, what's the difference? 28, 27, 29. But there is a difference. And your metric for how you examine a relationship starts to shift, right? Very subtly, very subtly. It's like, it's not necessarily who can I have fun with at a bar on Sunday? It's who's going to be there for me when I'm upset? Questions get deeper. Your needs get deeper. And therefore, who you have in your life needs to check those boxes. And maybe this relationship doesn't. Maybe this relationship doesn't anymore. And it's interesting. Hold on. Because you guys tell me a lot, like, I've been dating my boyfriend, he was my first love, or we've been together for so long, and there's nothing wrong, but I'm just, And here, a lot of times you don't even articulate it that way. It's, I've been with my boyfriend for 5 years or whatever, for 3 years, 2 years, but I have this crush on my coworker. I am obsessed with the guy at the gas station. Like, I keep thinking about this ex I dated. There's this guy in the gym I keep making eye contact with, and I can't let it go. Girl, these people are getaway cars. That's it. They are meant to pull you out of this relationship that is not serving you anymore. And I remember one time Cameron Diaz, like she had just broken up with Justin Timberlake. Do you remember they dated? I mean, you might not, but they dated for like 2 or 3 years or something. And then they broke up, and an interviewer asked her something like, why do you keep having unsuccessful relationships? It was like really fucking rude. And she's like, I don't think my relationships have been unsuccessful. Just because it doesn't last until the day you die doesn't mean it was an unsuccessful relationship. It could be very successful for 3 years, but it was time to end. And conversely, shouldn't say conversely, you could die next to someone at 85 and have had a very unsuccessful, toxic, weird relationship that was unfulfilling. Longevity is not a metric of happiness, and it certainly is not a metric of success. And we know this in other things, right? I've been at my job for 8 years. I hate it, but I'm still there. It's like, okay, I've lived in this same apartment for 3 years. I need to get out. I've been best friends with this same girl who's now turned toxic and blah, 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 since I was in kindergarten. It's like, we know this in other categories, but we look at it in love, and society tells us we got to be with someone until the day we die. Well, let me tell you, if you're with the wrong person, every day feels like the day you're going to die. Life is both very short and very long at the same time. It goes by in a flash, but oh my God, it's in like agonizing moments if you're with the wrong person. But maybe they're not the wrong person. They're just not the right one. Not the right one anymore. It's very important to look around and see what those getaway cars are. Like, you're in your house, your boyfriend's there, you're sick to goddamn death of each other. You don't really want to have sex, you do it anyway, whatever. And what do you hear outside? It's a getaway car. idling right outside your window. And it comes in many forms. Maybe it comes in the form of like a party you have to go to or you're gonna die. I don't care that you don't wanna go. I'm going, I'm getting dressed up. Maybe you're out partying all the time. Maybe you're working really, really late hours because subconsciously you kind of don't want to be at home. Maybe it's the crush on the ex. Maybe you can't get off Instagram. Maybe you're binging Shallon Lester videos all the time. There is something that is pulling you away, that is trying to orient your vision away from that relationship and onto something else. And if you can just see that that's what's happening, that's okay. Getaway cars are meant to get you from point A to point B. You don't live in them, right? You get in, you use them, you get out. But if we don't know that that's what that is, if we don't know that that's who that Orange Theory trainer is representing to us, we get in that car and we're like, this is where I live now. I live in my car. I live in this getaway car, because we can't see it for what it is. But if you can, you're like, you know what? I'm flirting too much. I'm working too much, because this is symptomatic of a larger issue. And the issue is my boyfriend. The issue is my relationship. Maybe the issue isn't your actual boyfriend, but maybe it is your relationship. Maybe things have changed. Maybe unconsciously your metric has shifted. And it doesn't only have to happen at 21 or 28, like at all. Like these things happen in a lot of ways. Like I've gone through a real big shift, really big shift. Gosh, I sound silly. In the last year in terms of like a metric by which I judge people. And I'm, it's not my 7-year mark. So I'm just feeling it anyway. Epiphanies can happen, but you got to give them room to happen. And it's okay that they happen. Seasons change, right? Seasons change. They're meant to change. We're meant to change as well. And speaking of seasons, if there isn't a reason why someone is in your life, then there is only a season that someone is going to be in your life. And that's okay. When seasons end, it's painful, right? Summer's over. It's the end of Christmas. But we accept that a new season is starting. And that's why we love a season, because we know it's finite. And that's maybe how we have to treat our relationships. We know that we got to love someone and be happy in this relationship and devoted, because maybe it isn't going to be around forever. And we should carry that sort of mindset. It makes us appreciate our partner and it makes us more present. There's another thing though. What if you're not on the side of deciding that this relationship needs to end? What if you're on the flip side? What if it's your partner who is either not ending this relationship or he's breaking up with you? One of those things is infinitely worse than not ending. In college, I took a pairing and marriage class. It was fascinating. I love it. I still have the textbook. One statistic that I learned that is like burned into my mind, put it on my tombstone. When two people move in together, they have an 85% chance of getting married. At exactly a year and a half, it drops down to 11%. If they're not engaged, if they're not seriously taking steps, if they haven't talked about it, they're on the same page, 11%. Exactly 18 months. Why? Consciously or not, You've gone through all the holidays. You know someone's biorhythms. You know if they leave the wet towels on the bed. I do that. And on some level, you've made up your mind. So when I see people, it's like, well, so-and-so, they're dating. They've lived together for 3 years. I bet they'll get married. I'm like, I bet they won't. I mean, they might. They've got an 11% chance. If I was a betting man, I wouldn't take that bet. It happens. My friend's little brother is getting married, and they've lived together for like 7 years. And I was always like, I don't know. But again, to go back to the Cameron Diaz quote, like longevity is not a metric of success. Just because someone gets married, boop, check that box, doesn't mean that like that's the win, that then it's happily ever after. Marriage is the start of a whole bunch of new problems, right? It's the ending of like some stressors, but it is the beginning of far more stressors, far more benefits too if you do it right. I didn't, so I don't know. But I wonder if Austin and Vanessa were simply not on the same page. If one of them or both of them, after that 18-month of cohabitation, were like, I don't know, not for me. She did say something about him that I thought was sweet. She said this a while ago. She said, I want to get married, travel, then have kids, probably in my late 30s. Everyone's clock is different. That's interesting. And at first I was like, yeah, no, that makes sense. It makes sense if you're not already dating someone and have been for a decade, like, why not get married? And look, I'm not like Susie marriage. Like, I don't think marriage is the healthiest option for everyone. I think it's hard for humans to be monogamous, but I also would bet that most people are fairly conservative. And at the end of the day, most people reorient to those social American norms, which is marriage. You've been together, you cohabitate, I'm sure the family's asking, why aren't you getting married? Fans are asking, when are you getting married? This is normal, you know? And it's interesting to me that neither one of them feel compelled to take that step, right? And I'm also like, travel. What would you say you do all day, Ness? Why aren't you traveling now? When celebs say they want to travel, I'm like, you can go. Kylie Jenner posts like, take me back, and like photos from Italy this summer. I was like, then go, bitch. You have a jet. Literally go right now. I travel more than you do. How is that possible? But then Vanessa did say a really cute quote about Austin. We both trust. No, I already got it wrong. We both respect, trust, and admire each other. It's so solid now because I feel strong and as an independent person. I'm very self-reliant, but it's nice to have a best friend you can share victories with as well as losses. I thought that was really cute. I also think it's a bunch of horseshit. Like, you know what I mean? This is with all due respect, because I like Vanessa. I interviewed her like a year or two ago. She's so sweet. It was at a football event, and she was like the spokesperson. I was like, who's your favorite team? She's like, oh, I don't know anything about football. I was like, get that check and cash it. Non-football fan, I love it. But like, she dated Zac Efron 2005 to 2010, and she dated Austin in 2011. A year alone does not create a lot of self-reliance, especially when you're like, what was she, 21, 22? Like, come on. You aren't fully formed. And what do we say here? Dating is not 50-50. It is 100-100. And I have a lot of trouble believing that a professional actress who got out of a relationship with someone who wasn't super healthy at 22 years old needed more than a year on her own to really feel like a whole person. But who's to say you can't do self-development when you are in a relationship? I mean, I do. I say that because it is a lot harder. You simply don't have the luxury of making your own decisions from big things like, where do I want to live? How do I want to spend my holidays? To the little ones, like, which kind of hand soap should I buy? What do I want to do on a Tuesday night or a Friday morning? Like, you are thinking about someone else. And man, what a headache. What a headache. Like, I like having a boyfriend. Obviously, I like being in love. Who doesn't? But I also really like being alone. I love the autonomy and just the meanness, the selfishness of like, I'm going to do whatever I want. The other night I had caviar and champagne for dinner because I can. Not like a relationship would have held me back and I'm not allowed to, but you have to take other people into consideration. A giant man can't eat caviar for dinner, and quite frankly, I don't want to share my caviar. It belongs to me, okay? I'm an only child. And when you're so young and you partner up in such a serious way, you really don't get a sense of who you are. And if you're inside a relationship and you're starting to feel this, get out. Get the fuck out. Get out of that relationship. Look, life is really long. It is. And you don't know if you're going to come back around and be back together with this person. I say all the time, my mom's best friend just remarried her first husband. She had 2 husbands after that. 3rd marriage, divorced, remarried her first husband, the father of her kids. They were like high school sweethearts. Is that not the cutest? And she's like, I always loved him. It's never that we didn't love each other, but we didn't know ourselves. And being together didn't allow us to become individuals. We were like a tree, like 2 trees whose branches were growing in together. That's great maybe for trees. I don't even think it is, but like humans need to be on their own path. She's like, had I like really acknowledged that when, you know, they divorced the first time, she said, like, she's like, I wouldn't have gotten married 2 more times. Had I just been by myself and worked on me, I could have avoided these sort of like, not panic marriages, but like situations that weren't serving her. So that's interesting, you know, that's interesting. And hopefully Vanessa will be single for a little while and get back to her. I mean, she is still so young. She's 31, you know, but she's had 2 gnarly ass relationships. She's been dating someone since she was 15, basically. A year alone ain't nothing. A year alone ain't nothing. You know, like you think she was over Zac Efron like the day they broke up or announced it? Absolutely not. Sorry, my jaw hurts. Ugh. Absolutely not. So she needs to get back to herself. He probably needs to do the same. I wonder though, if she's going to make a play to try to get back together or suddenly start opening up about why they broke up right when that movie starts to come out, right? Get a little bit of shine, get a little bit of clout. Can't knock the hustle. So if you're in these positions, if you're dating someone in your line of work, seriously reconsider it. It creates a lot of competition where there should not be any. And if you're in a long-term relationship and you're getting this itch, acknowledge that that's what it is. Acknowledge that you're probably not in love with the guy at the mall kiosk who sells cell phone covers. Probably not. You're probably looking for an excuse to get out of your relationship. Shallon is here to tell you, you don't need any. I'm just not happy anymore is a complete sentence. For more, follow me on Instagram at ShallonXO. And like I said, head to my website, shallonlester.com, and click Get Help if you have a question and you want to ask me. And I want to know your thoughts on Vanessa and Austin. Are you super sad to see them break up? Did you kind of forget they existed? Do you think they'll get back together? All of the above? Let me know.